Okay, I think we're going to get started. Welcome everyone to Social Media 101, how to work smarter, not harder. I'm Amy Rowan, StreamWorks Marketing Director. As many of you know, StreamWorks is an integrated marketing communications company that helps clients leverage their data to produce campaigns that increase response. And that includes helping clients integrate social media platforms into their existing marketing efforts. So in today's webinar, we'll cover why it's smart to include social media into your marketing mix, an overview of the primary social media platforms, and tips for posting content and creating a social media strategy so you can, in fact, work smarter, not harder. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. We are recording today's webinar. You'll automatically receive a copy of it tomorrow. The recording will be in an email from GoToWebinar, not StreamWorks, so just keep an eye out for that and don't accidentally delete it. If you do, no big deal. Just let us know. We'll get you a copy. On your screen, you should also see a meeting panel, which has a place to enter your questions. We'll be monitoring those as we go, and we'll save time for a Q&A session at the end. And we'll keep the webinar. It'll probably be right around 45 minutes or so. But we'll stay on the line as long as needed to answer all of the questions that you guys may have, and all of those will be in the recording. So if you need to jump off early for whatever reason, don't worry about it. Like I said, you'll get the recording. Everything will be in there, so you won't miss a thing. So with that, let me introduce our presenters. Amy Burrell and Katie Brombeck are account executives on the StreamWorks marketing team and specialize in helping clients develop social media strategies to drive website traffic, develop brand value, and foster customer relationships for their clients. So they will be sharing some of the insights they have and some of how they work with their clients on these items. So with that, I will turn it over to Katie.
Great, thanks Amy. We are definitely excited to be here today to discuss some of the basics of social media with you guys and show you how truly beneficial it can be to integrate social media into your overall marketing strategy. So here's a little bit about what we'll be covering during today's webinar. We will start off by first discussing why social media is an important tactic to have in your plan, and then we'll take a quick look at some of the major social media platforms out there, who uses them, and why you should be using them too. Then we'll go through a step-by-step plan for creating your own social media strategy by providing some tips and recommendations for creating engaging content, maximizing your exposure, and tracking your efforts. So why should your company use social media? Well, a solid social media strategy is a key element in your larger integrated marketing plan because it'll help you not only attract and retain customers, but build loyal ones too. Social media can do many valuable things for your brand, but probably most importantly, it allows you to have a conversation with your audience in a two-way dialogue. So you can provide them with relevant, engaging content, but you can also listen to their feedback and what they're saying in regards to your brand, which will help further promote engagement on multiple levels. In turn, this will build loyalty with your current customer base, increase retention, and also attract new leads. So in short, social media builds relationships, it builds brand value, and it builds web traffic. So this image here shows the different social media avenues various companies use to acquire business. So as you can see, it doesn't matter if you're B2B or B2C, social media can be a beneficial tool for your business to reach your target audience, and then also acquire them as new customers. So first off, social media definitely builds relationships. You can use social media to speak with your audiences where they already are. This is where you can communicate with them in that two-way dialogue and start that conversation. And this is where you can learn more about them in a natural, non-invasive setting, which helps you gain a deeper understanding of who they are and what they would like to see from you as a company. Social media can also be used as a customer service tool, which can be very useful to reassure your customers in situations that require an immediate response. We all know that we live in a very instantaneous society today, So the quicker you can respond to a customer in need, the better. Social media also builds your brand value. It increases your presence and recognition in the industry that you may be in. It relies on earning people's interest versus buying it. And this is done through targeted messages and engaging content. By giving your audience an exclusive inside look into your company, it can humanize your brand. And this allows them, your audience, to feel more connected to you as a company in a positive way. So if your content is valuable to your audience, it can also build that trust with them, and it increases your credibility, which will lead to more inbound leads and therefore generate more sales. And who doesn't want that? So along with building relationships, brand value, social media can also build your web traffic by driving more visitors to your blog and website. So by increasing your site traffic, combined with a link building strategy, this improves your visibility in Google, therefore helping your search engine optimization strategy. So what does this mean exactly? Well, if your website is ranked higher in Google and more easily found by your target audience when they're searching for your products and services, then your web traffic is going to continue to increase and therefore lead to more referrals, new leads, and in turn, sales generated. Okay, so now that we've covered why social media is such a crucial element in your integrated marketing strategy, how are you supposed to know where to begin? With so many platforms out there in this ever-changing world of social media, you never know when the next one's going to come on. We recommend launching your efforts on one platform first, really mastering your plan there, and then moving on to others and incorporating other systems or platforms into your strategy. So we're going to begin just to cover some of the basics of a few of the platforms, the main ones, and then we'll briefly touch on why it would be a good idea for you to incorporate certain platforms over others into your strategy. So let's start with the most popular one that hopefully everyone has heard of or is hopefully using, Facebook. Okay, so who uses Facebook? Well, out of the 1.26 billion users, 30% of those are ages 25 to 34. And 53% of these users are female. So these users are spending on average 20 minutes per visit, and 68% of these users have a college degree and also have an income of $75,000 or more. So why do you think your brand should be on Facebook? Well, we always tell our clients, and we always think that Facebook is the #1 place to start, really, because it is one of the most popular platforms out there, and it's really likely that your audience will interact with Facebook at one point or another during their decision-making process. So really, you have to ask yourself, who doesn't want to build their brand personality, their loyalty, and their engagement with their target audience on a platform where their audience already is engaging with? Well, if these sound like goals that you want to achieve with your social media efforts, then Facebook is definitely a platform you should be on. Another one of the major players in the social media game is Twitter. There are about 1 billion users out there using Twitter. The age demographic is between 18 and 29 years old, and there's a higher percentage of men that use Twitter. 46% of these users visit Twitter daily, and 29% check their feeds multiple times throughout the day. So Twitter is a great tool for conversing with your audience in real time. By associating your brand with the trending news stories and latest hot topics that are filling up the news feed that they're checking multiple times throughout the day, Twitter allows your brand to stay current, which presents the message that your company is cutting edge and innovative. Twitter is also the perfect tool for great customer service. You can provide your customers with immediate solutions to their problems, and they will be at ease knowing that you are taking care of them and what they may be having problems with. LinkedIn is another great platform that is constantly evolving as a B2B resource. LinkedIn has 277 million users, and the core demographic is aged between 30 and 49 years old, which means the audience here is in the prime of their career rising years, and mostly they're going to be well-educated users. So you can use your LinkedIn profile to develop thought leadership. You can also develop thought leadership through the groups in your industry that LinkedIn offers. You can use LinkedIn to help with your prospecting efforts by seeking out specific titles and roles within organizations that you might want to be communicating with. You can show off your testimonials, your recommendations, your case studies on LinkedIn as well, which will increase your credibility within your target audience. You can also display your services and products as well. Okay, so last but not least, another major platform to consider when you are creating your social media plan is Google+. So Google+ has 300 million users, and the average time these users are spending on Google+ is about 7 minutes. So this is Google's social media platform. So obviously this is going to play a major role within your search engine optimization strategy. Google is going to take into consideration your content that you're posting on Google+ when they are determining your relevancy and authority when it comes to key search terms related to your business. Google+ is also a great way to interact with other businesses through targeted, invite-only Google Hangouts or podcasts or other things that you can do with Google+ that you may have never heard of. You can also establish communities based on your different audiences within Google+. So you can segment your messages based on the circles you create and only send certain messages to certain circles. It's one of the only social media platforms that you can do that on. Okay, so since we only have enough time to briefly cover these main platforms, I wanted to also throw out a couple others like YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram that you could also integrate with your social media platform. And just to give you a couple examples of why these might be useful to you, if you have a lot of video content or could potentially use video content to reach your target market, then you should be on YouTube as well. Or if your main demographic is mostly women and your brand influences their lifestyle, their hobbies, and interests, then Pinterest would be also a great tool for you to incorporate. Same goes for Instagram. If your brand could connect with your audience via images alone, then you could brainstorm a couple ways that Instagram could work for you guys as well. Okay, you're probably wondering or thinking, how in the world could I possibly be on all of these platforms at once, or even if you should be? Well, there's good news. You don't really have to be on all of them at once. And it really only makes sense to be active on the ones that your target audience is also active on. So how are you supposed to know where your audience is? Well, there's a couple of ways that you can find out where your audience is active regarding their social media efforts. For example, you could distribute surveys and simply ask them which platforms they engage with frequently. Also, you may think that you know about your target audience, and you think maybe you know exactly what demographic or psychographic characteristics they have, but just to be sure, there's some best practices for analyzing your current customer base, and to make sure that you are accurate in analyzing your target audience, we recommend data profiling. Data profiling is a good practice just to use for marketing in general. We can take a look at your house file or current customer list and really take a deeper look at who your customers are and what platforms they're using. So even if your audience is active on a lot of platforms, and I mean, we know there's only so much time in the day, and you may be the only one in your organization who is willing to really champion your social media initiatives, you may be feeling overwhelmed and thinking, how could you possibly find time for all these platforms? But this image here gives you some reassurance on where to place your efforts and limited resources first and foremost and it gives you a place to start. So a good rule of thumb, depending on if you're B2B or B2C, is to really start with Facebook, then Twitter, and then LinkedIn. So now that we've covered the basic information on some of the various platforms and really why you should be incorporating these into your strategy, Amy is now going to discuss how to really set up your social media strategy and implement it effectively.
Thanks, Kate. So I'm going to take you guys through a 5-step guide in order for your business to get the most out of its social media efforts by helping you identify, plan, and track your social media goals. So obviously there's a difference between just using social media and using it correctly and leveraging it for the needs and goals of your business. We know that 33% of consumers use social networks as a way for them to discover new brands, products, or services. And so if you're not doing social media the right way, it's really easy for a consumer to be put off and move on. So if you have a business Facebook page already, but you're not engaging your fans, or you have a corporate Twitter account, but maybe you've only produced 10 tweets in the last year, then I think you'll benefit from what we're about to cover on how to develop a strategy. So let's get started. The first step is to decide what 3 things you want your social media presence to do for your business. The best goals are quantifiable. For example, increase likes by 500 by the end of quarter 1, or drive 15% more website traffic annually. Other common goals you might have: generate leads, build brand recognition, increase engagement, be a go-to resource for your target audience, improve customer loyalty, or enhance search engine optimization. So based on your objectives, the next step is to create a plan. And first, you need to consider your target audience. And this is a critical step that shouldn't be overlooked. As Katie talked about all those platforms, think about your ideal buyer persona and how you could best reach them. What are their personality traits and hobbies? What motivates them? Where do they obtain their news? The better understanding you have of this buyer persona, the more successful you will be with developing content that they find engaging and that aligns with their interests. Next, you would pick a platform. Katie said to start with one and master that before adding a second. And since 88% of businesses are on Facebook, if you don't have a Facebook business page yet, this would be a good place to start so that you're not in the minority. Third, set your social media marketing budget. Right now, social averages about 9% of a company's overall budget. That number is projected to be 13% for 2015. So determine where social media falls in your priority. Finally, establish a process and roles. Who will be responsible for creating the content and posting regularly? Will you hire a social media expert? Are you going to measure success annually or every quarter? Having these assignments and expectations in place ahead of time will help your company in the long run be successful. So step 3, create content. Businesses often struggle with this, identifying content opportunities, and a common and understandable mistake is limiting content to promotional updates. While there's certainly a time and place for marketing and promotional messages, social media should be much broader than that. So to help spark some content ideas, here are just a couple of kind of generic opportunities to consider. Posting testimonials or quotes. Maybe you have a testimonial Tuesday. Staff updates or employee spotlight. Job postings. We see typically websites, their career opportunities pages have a really high amount of traffic, so why not share those on your social sites as well. Product highlights, industry trends and news, events, even jokes. If there's a place for a sense of humor, it's on social media. Another great place to get ideas from is by checking out your competitors' social pages. See what they do and do it better. You would need to find your distinctive factor and develop a clear voice. So we would recommend developing a monthly content calendar with about 20 to 25 posts. That way you can post, about 4 to 5 times per week. And because of Facebook's algorithm, frequency now is key in order to reach a large amount of your following. So they reward companies who post frequently and post valuable content. So if you were only posting promotional items about your company and you also weren't doing it very often, you're probably only going to reach about 2% of your audience. So remember frequency and value. So here are some social best practices to keep in mind with your content. Keep it visual. We are a visual society and we don't like reading long paragraphs. Users are actually 44% more likely to engage and share content that has images. An infographic would be great. Include links, whether it's links to your blog, to your website, or to an article. Posts that don't have a visual or a link do not perform very well. Be clear about what you want someone to do. Include strong call to actions. For instance, like us or share this. Ask and you shall receive. Don't preach or brag too much. Every business has a story and you need to find the way to share yours in a way that attracts clients and encourages prospects to take action, but doing so in a way that's not overly pushy or preachy. And then be social. Ask questions and join in conversations. This is a virtual networking opportunity on social media. So take time to build relationships just as you would in a face-to-face conversation. Be professional and don't take yourself too seriously. And then post when your audience is active on social media, which I will talk about next. Almost next. So this is one of our clients' pages in the senior housing industry. And as you can see, the entire page feels branded. We're using a lot of quotes and images. So the whole page has a consistent typeface and image style. And then if anyone were to share one of these images, you can see we're including their company name at the bottom and their website, so that would help with their brand recognition. So this slide here shows a content mix pyramid. Again, we talked about variety as being very important. And so the takeaway here is that social media should not be 100% self-promotion. We would recommend doing the 80-20 rule. So promote your business and talk about yourself only 20% of the time, and then engage or build value the other 80%. Katie mentioned this, but consumers want to know that it's a human on the other end of the computer. So find ways to connect your brand in a personal way. All right, so you've created your content. Step 4 would be implementing and tracking. How do you know if your social strategy is achieving your goals and if your content is engaging and valuable to your audience? So I'm going to touch on a couple of tracking metrics and free tools that can help make your lives easier. So one of these tools is Hootsuite. And if your company is already on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, this would be a great solution for you guys to use. It essentially lets you manage everything in one place, and it's free. So now you can schedule your posts, your tweets, your pins, and track all in one place as well. If you're only on Facebook, that has a scheduling and insights feature as well, which I will show you guys next. So maybe you didn't know that you could schedule your posts ahead of time. I actually didn't know this until about a year ago when someone pointed it out to me. But it's a great feature once you have your content plan in place to schedule those 20 posts for the entire month. And if you know when your audience is most active on Facebook, which I will show you how to figure out, we would recommend obviously scheduling those posts around when they are online. But if you don't know, just test out a bunch of different times so that you can see what reached the most people, when did you have the most engagement. So some popular times of day that we have seen for these platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, all typically in the afternoon is when more people are online. And Google Plus is the one exception, and that is between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. has the higher activity. So if you don't have a track record to go off of, we would recommend scheduling your posts in the afternoon and for Google Plus in the morning. So Facebook Insights lets you see what time of day you have the highest reach. And so this is just showing for one of our clients, 8 p.m. is actually when we should be posting to reach the most people. So again, the rule of thumb is the afternoon is just a benchmark starting point, but actually check your insights and see what time of day works best for your brand. Another page insight is this activity, which lets you see what content does your audience find the most interesting and then tailor your content accordingly. So this screenshot shows what posts receive the highest number of clicks, shares, and overall reach. And you can see each one of these posts either had an image or a link. So also I want to call attention to this boost post option, which I am going to briefly talk about Facebook ads in a minute here. But I just want you guys to know that that option is available, and Facebook's organic reach has actually decreased significantly over the past year. So now on average of your total following, when you post, only about 12% of them will see that in their news feed. So this Facebook Boost option lets you pay as little as $5 to magnify your exposure to a selected audience of your choice. And you can pay more than that. The bigger the budget, the bigger the boost. Another insight Facebook has is people, which shows just the basic demographics of your following. So you can see the age group, the gender, and where the majority of your followers live. So Facebook also has other insights, but I just wanted to give a basic overview so you guys all knew that data was available and could start checking this on a monthly basis. So in terms of tracking, we commonly hear that people are concerned with how social media actually impacts their bottom line. How do we track the ROI? So as I mentioned, social media leads to conversations, and those conversations build relationships, and relationships result in ROI. So you can use some of these metrics to see if your content is leading to those conversations based on the engagement rates, the social shares. If more people are talking about your page, your brand awareness is increasing, which will ultimately translate to sales. All right, step 5. So you've spent all this time creating content and implementing, scheduling posts, but you only have 50 likes and your referral traffic hasn't improved. So now what do you do? Well, here are a couple of easy takeaways for everyone to make sure they already have in place. You can invite your friends to like your page. You can upload a customer email list. Let people know about your page and encourage them to engage and share stories. So when someone comes into your business, actually in person, letting them know about this. Using those Facebook page insights, knowing what's working for your target audience and modifying your content. Make sure your email signatures include those social media icons. Your website obviously should have either the icons or a like us button. Follow us on our blog, Twitter, and that should be on every page, not just on your home page. And then Facebook advertising. If all of this fails and you're still just really struggling gaining a following and seeing that ROI, that would be a recommendation. So Facebook advertising, really, there are different campaign options based on your goals. So a couple common ones that we do include website clicks or page likes, promoted posts, which would be that boost post, or website conversions are, kind of the top 4 campaigns that we commonly use for our clients. So the targeting capabilities you can use with Facebook include, there's tons, but you can do the age, the lifestyle. You can only show your ad to people who are already connected to your page. The tracking is much more measurable. You can actually put this pixel on a purchase page or on a thank you page so that you can see how many conversions come through based on every time someone clicked on that ad. And then Facebook ads typically have a much lower cost per click than Google because it's not based on keywords. So our goal would be, we always want to get a click to be less than $1, which is a good benchmark for you guys to have as well. And then Facebook ads are also just an easy way to develop a large following. If you don't want to spend a year, we would recommend speed it up with doing the page likes. So that was pretty high level, and I think Facebook ads could be a training in its own. But I just want to show you guys a couple of examples. So this is a sample ad of website clicks, and you can see here the targeting options. We're specifically looking at baby boomers in southern Minnesota between the ages of 40 and 65 plus. And we are saying, when your parents need caregiving, we're here to help. Senior living in southern Minnesota. So this Learn More button means that this ad would take you to a page on their website. And this ad resulted in 1,000 unique website clicks in 3 months. And Facebook in general is the top referral source and drives a huge amount of website traffic for this client. So another client of ours, this is a different campaign targeting expecting moms and new moms. And these 2 ads were shown in the right column, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. You can have the right column ads or the mobile ads or ads that go on your newsfeed. So we were targeting in the category you see parents with a child of 0 to 3 or expecting parents, just to give you an idea of all the custom targeting options that Facebook has to offer. And this one, the call to action being very specific. We love new moms. Like us, if you or someone you know is expecting their first child. So it's very to the point, but it's also fun. And then the other one, moms to be, meet your area pediatricians. Schedule a free, no obligation consult today. So the messaging, you are limited to, I think it's 135 characters. You don't need to use all those, but it's important to come up with a clever, clear message, and also the headline, whether that's the company name, which we're using here, or maybe your call to action is in your headline. But you would need to test multiple ads and multiple targeting options in order to find what was most successful. So this particular one reached over 1 million people, and it generated 4 million impressions, and we've generated over 3,000 visitors to their website with an average cost of only 47 cents per click. So this is another Facebook success story for K. Hovnanian Homes, a national home builder. We use Facebook ads, and over the last 7 months, we increased their likes from 77 to more than 4,000, and they had a limited budget. So it just shows the power in Facebook advertising. So I think that was all that. Hopefully those 5 steps were clear. And now I'll hand it back over to Amy.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've had a few questions come in, so I think we will kind of throw those out. And Katie, you kind of addressed this, but the question being, do I have to be on all these social media sites? So maybe kind of reiterate kind of the strategy there and maybe where they want to focus.
Yeah, you definitely, there's not enough time in the world to be on all of the social media platforms, and it doesn't necessarily make sense unless your audience is really on all of them. So really it's finding out where your audience is and then reaching them on those platforms. But really, driving that content to be relevant and interesting to them. That's probably your main focus, and you should spend your time there. So yeah, master one first, see how that works with your tracking, really, nail that down, make sure you have a good grasp on that before you start incorporating others into your strategy. And it's a good, best practice just to keep in mind if you are on multiple platforms at once, you really want to be strategic in your approach on each one. So you don't just want to post the same thing on all 3 of your platforms that you might be on. It's really good to tailor that content to be on the platform that you're on.
Okay, great. Another question, how many hours a week do you suspect it would take to do 3 posts a week to Facebook? What do you think?
Well, again, we would recommend really having that content set up ahead of time. Create your monthly content plans, and that could take, if it's beginning, if you're a beginner, you would probably want to start researching other companies, seeing what industry leaders are doing, thinking about your target audience, and then that could maybe take 6 to 10 hours, to do that content plan. But then really the posting should be automated. Yeah, you just would take a couple hours to schedule them and
schedule them all at once.
Schedule them all at once.
And definitely, yes, schedule all at once, because going out and doing one each individually that's not an effective use of your time. So, okay, we had a request, and Katie's got the clicker. Can you back up to the content mix pyramid?
Sure. Oh. It's not letting.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Do you have the control?
Sorry, guys. I clicked away so Katie, her forward in advance wasn't working anymore. Content pyramid. Aha. Okay, so kind of, again, it's kind of a mix of entertaining, inspires in there. So again, that's probably a little more in the, I think in one of the Facebook metrics that they were showing, like, so inspire is the second one that's shown there, and I think that was one of the higher posts that got the higher traction for that particular client. So something that happened to be a quote that I think was easy to share. Again, the image, start a conversation, so ask a question, ask them what their opinions are, teach them how to do something, provide relevant information. Those are kind of similar, but again, depending on what industry you're in, what your brand or company does, that's going to be unique for each of you. But the point is you want to provide value. Think about if you were in your target audience's shoes, what would you want to see? So, and how, what do you like to see in some of your favorite companies or brands? So that's kind of, and then on the side there, it's kind of just a rule of thumb, so providing value, you're going to be doing that more often than maybe, we had mentioned putting a joke. If it's tasteful and obviously makes sense and still professional, but you're not going to do that all the time because that's probably not in the best interest of your brand. But again, like the inspire, and again, depending on who your company is, and if your audience is telling you that they really like that, then maybe you step that up a bit. So, okay, there was another question here, and hopefully I don't mess up this. So guys, any recommendations for university schools, getting students to the school's social media? So again, targeting age groups, like on Facebook, would be a good option.
And depending on what they're interested in too, I mean, depending on maybe the clubs that they're in high school, like they might be in the business club. So that means they're probably going to major in business at university, whatever one they go to. So you can target them that way even to give them, relevant content that could.
Basically a way, so this is a school or university, it looks like, in a way to get, I'm going to guess,
that are in high school.
students to follow their social media. I'm
Right.
going to guess is what you're asking there.
Yeah, I think as, like you were saying, Katie, would be a great option because you can target, or you could actually use a custom if you have an email list or if you have a house file, you can upload that into Facebook and it would create a lookalike audience. So you could, I would try both, just targeting with their options and then.
Or people that are coming in for a tour, you can always have your tour guides like trained on how to say, make sure you like us on Facebook so we can follow up with you that way. After you come and take a tour, it's a good way to stay in touch with them before they fill out the application and actually go through that whole process.
Or like us on Facebook and you'll get free college for all 4 years. Not that extreme, but having some incentives always helps as well.
Contests and promotions.
Yes, contests and promotions.
Okay. So on Facebook, is having likes or shares more important?
For a particular post, you think is what they're asking?
I think so, yeah. So like in terms of boosting your...
Yeah, I'd say a share because then it's reaching even a larger audience.
Right.
So if they're sharing it with their own friends and followers, then it's going to boost it automatically.
You have the potential to go viral.
Right.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, shares are what you are going for in my mind.
Okay, and then I guess too, again, we keep talking about images, but that's the beauty of including images and kind of, soundbite's not the right word, but kind of having your brand down in the corner, so if it is shared and does go viral, obviously you're getting credit for that, as I put that in air quotes. So a question about Hootsuite. So I think the question is, doesn't it duplicate everything exactly on Facebook? Yeah, doesn't it duplicate everything exactly? Which, no.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. Well, I'm not sure if I'm understanding the question, but...
The way you type it in, the way it shows up.
Well, I guess how I'm interpreting that question is, so Hootsuite, you can manage multiple platforms, meaning you can all in kind of one dashboard manage your Facebook account, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all in one place. So you can, yes, obviously you can post different content and schedule different content on each of those platforms through Hootsuite. So no, if you are posting it, you don't have to have the same thing across every platform that you're on. It's how I'm interpreting that,
Do you know
that
if
question.
the free version allows you to do it for separate as well? I'm not 100% sure. I would assume
I think
so.
it does, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume you can post separate content for each platform.
Okay.
Underneath the same company.
Yeah.
Once you start adding other companies, then you need a new account.
Right.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm kind of scrolling through here. Oh, so back to the university question, asking about current students are already enrolled at the university, not targeting prospects.
Gotcha. Again, some of that in person, letting students know about it, but there'd have to be a reason for them to like it. Like, what are you offering on that page that they can't get at their website? Is it more relevant information?
Or I think just around campus too, and with various events going on, and again, kind of going back to even the clubs within the university, if you create specific Facebook pages, let's say for your marketing club or your rowing club, and just providing them valuable information that they can go to those pages and find out.
And inviting them to have inviting the students to talk and converse on those pages, kind of providing a platform or medium for them.
Yeah.
So if there's an event like in creating a hashtag, we didn't even really talk about hashtags, but like, I don't know, homecoming 2014 or whatever, and have them post what their homecoming experience is like, and you know, and then encouraging them to tag their friends or classmates. So again, that is expanding the reach and view of your posts, and and there you go. So, okay, so for boosting Twitter, to get more followers, how many posts per day do you recommend to tweet out? I would say the rule of thumb for Twitter, so sometimes you run the risk of over-posting. So to Facebook or some sites like LinkedIn, if you were a B2B, you can run the risk of over-posting and getting a little, I don't know if annoying is the right word, but you're not helping your brand by doing that. But Twitter is one where I would say the more the better you can do, because Twitter is just, it's constant, it's instant, it's changing. And so as long as it's relevant and helps your brand, then I don't think that there's a maximum.
Yeah, and I would just spread them out over time throughout the day too, because I mean, there's nothing worse than when you see a chunk of your news feed filled with one company. You know, you want to spread them out so it looks more natural and organic.
It's true. And we didn't cover Twitter tools at all, but each of these platforms does have some insight tools or advertising tools that you can use. So maybe that's, again, another webinar or training session that we can maybe delve into each one individually and go more in depth. So let's see. We had one other question. How do you handle negative feedback?
Yeah, this is a great question and one we're asked commonly. Typically, because you want to be transparent on your social media pages, we recommend that you don't delete the comment and instead just respond in a genuine way on that platform. And then it is best practice to take it offline and follow up with the customer as well. There are rare cases where it's so outlandish that you do need to delete it, but 90% of the time you should be able to respond and not have to hide it.
And Katie had mentioned that social media is a great listening tool. So even though it's not great to have that negative comment out there, but it is giving you insight into maybe an issue that needs to be addressed customer service-wise, or how you're delivering your product, or whatever the case may be. And something that you may not have known about and may have been losing customers or students or whatever, whoever your audience is, been losing people about anyway, but now this provides a platform for them to kind of let you know about it.
And for negative reviews, I just thought of this, when you do get, some of our clients, they'll get really nasty reviews and, kind of freak out about it, but then it's just ask 3 people in your organization to write, a 5-star review, and that will push that negative review, they're front and center right away, and then it only displays 3, but if you can get 3 to go on top of it, that's an easy solution.
Okay. There's another question here about the content pyramid here, which I think we still have that up. Yes. Okay, so on the content pyramid, does it apply for both Twitter and Facebook?
I see this more applying for Facebook than Twitter.
So, and then the follow-up question, a couple funny, several pics, links, etc. So, I mean, Twitter, you still want to, if you can incorporate images on Twitter, that's still a good practice to have, because, again, images, videos.
And a lot of this would go back to your objectives. So you would want to have separate objectives for Twitter. So if it's Facebook is that brand recognition and Twitter is to be an industry expert, then your content, would follow accordingly and be much more trends and cutting edge news. Yeah. But yes, variety is still important. I would just tailor it based on those goals. And
it also depends on what your brand is, too. So, a bank probably is not going to be posting funnies. but I don't know, a different brand,
university
could post a little more lighthearted content. So let me see if there are any. Okay, can you use, sorry guys, this window's kind of small, can you use a hashtag to connect your Facebook to your Twitter? So basically use the same hashtag across different platforms.
Yeah, we would recommend doing that
Mm-hmm.
to keep consistency. And then you can track it overall.
Mm-hmm.
That's what hashtags are used for, is tracking.
Yeah.
Search and grouping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing, there's such a thing as an evergreen hashtag, which basically means, so like Homecoming 2014, obviously that's timely and has a kind of a short shelf life. But if you have, think of, I don't know, so like Brain Power Academy. I don't know. If it's something you do all the time and it's part of your brand or whatever that it's relevant, you can kind of develop that hashtag and just keep using it. So like probably social media alone would be an example of an evergreen hashtag because that's never going to have a shelf life. That's always going to be relevant. So if there's something like that that applies to your brand, you can start using that and try and engage people, and maybe you'll be a trending topic. So, okay, I think we're out of questions. So, actually, Katie, if you guys would like to, see if we can pull the screen up, give you the clicker power back. If you guys have more questions, or we are happy to do a social media assessment for you guys. So we'll try and get it here. So we'll fast forward through. And this will be in